Waiting for Isaiah.
Nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who were in distress. He humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, but entered Galilee of the nations, by the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. They rejoice before you as people rejoice at the harvest, as soldiers rejoice when dividing the plunder. For as in the day of Midian's defeat, you have shattered the yoke that burdens them. The bar across their shoulders, used in battle, and every garment rolled in blood will be destined for child is born. To us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. People will know it. Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria, who say with pride and arrogance of heart,
the bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with dressed stone. The fig trees have been felled, but we will replace them with cedars.
But the Lord has strengthened Reason's foes against them, and has spurred their enemies on. Arameans from the east and Philistines from the west have devoured Israel with open mouth. Yet for not return to him who struck them, nor have they sought the Lord Almighty. So the Lord will cut off from Israel both heads and dignitaries are the head. The prophets stray. Therefore the Lord will take no pleasure in the young men, nor will he pity the fatherless. Everyone is ungodly and wicked. Every mouth speaks folly. Yet for all this, his anger is not turned away. His hand is still upraised, sure, so that it rolls upward in a column of smoke. By the wrath of the Lord Almighty, the land will be scorched, and the people will be fuel for the fire. They will not spare each other. On the right, they will devour, but still be hungry. On the left, they will eat, but not be satisfied. They will all feed on the flesh of their own offspring. Manasseh will feed on Ephraim, and Ephraim on Manasseh. Together will turn against Judah. Yet for all this, nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who were in distress. But in the future, he will honor Galilee of the nations, by the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan. Light has dawned. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. They rejoice before you and will rejoice at the harvest, when dividing the
Here now is Joshua 2, read by Alexander Scorby. We're waiting for Alexander to come to the microphone to read Joshua
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went night of the children of Israel to search out the country and house, for they be come to search out all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, There came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went, I wot not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords, and as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof, and she said unto the men, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the sea for you when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the two kings of the Amorites that were on the other side Jordan, Sihon and Og, ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither, since I have showed, ye will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, and that ye and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, Our life for yours, if ye utter not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town. And unto them, Get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned, and afterward may ye go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be blameless of this thine oath which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window which thou didst let us down. Whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. And if thou utter this our business, then we will be quit of thine oath which thou hast made us to swear. And she said, According unto your word, scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountain, and abode there 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So they returned, and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and told him all the things that befell them. And they said unto Joshua, Truly the Lord hath delivered into our hands all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us.
And that was Joshua chapter 2, and that was read by Alexander Scorby. Your program is Bibles Through Variety on Old Time Radio 2CM here in Newcastle, the entertainment station of Australia. Bible Radio Through Variety on Old Time Radio 2CM, the entertainment capital of the world. And now let's continue with our broadcast, our program, and we listen to Alexander Scorby again presenting Deuteronomy chapter
33. Up from Seir unto them, he shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. Yea, he loved the people. All his saints are in thy hand, and they sat down at thy feet. Every one shall receive of thy words. Moses commanded the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob, and he was king in Jeshurun when the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together. Let Reuben live and not die, let not his men be few. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and be thou an help to him from his enemies. And of Levi he said, Let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, whom thou didst prove at Massah. Neither did he acknowledge his brethren, nor knew his own children, for they have observed the word and kept thy covenant. They shall teach Jacob thy judgments, and Israel thy law. They shall put incense before thee, and hold burnt sacrifice upon thine altar. Bless, Lord, his substance. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses the man of God blessed the children of Israel for his death. The Lord came from Sinai, and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. Yea, he loved the people. All his saints are in thy hand, and they sat down at thy feet. Every one shall live. Let Reuben live and not die, and let not his men be few. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him on for him. And let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, whom thou didst prove at Massa, and with to his mother I have not seen him, neither did knowledge on you. They shall teach Jacob thy judgments, and Israel thy law. They shall put incense before thee, and hold burnt sacrifice upon thine altar. Bless, Lord, his substance, and accept the work of his hand. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him. The Lord shall dwell in safety by him, and the Lord shall cover him all the day long, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. And of Joseph he said, For the dew, and for the deep that coucheth beneath, and for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth, precious things of the earth and fullness thereof, and for the goodwill of him that dwelt in the bush. Let the blessing come upon the head of Joseph, and upon the top of like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. And they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands. Rejoice, Zebulun, in thy going out, and Issachar in thy tents. They shall call the people unto the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall suck of the abundance. He said, Blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part for himself, because there in a portion of the lawgiver was he seated. And he came with the heads of the people, he executed the justice of the Lord, and his judgments with Israel. And of dancing of the Lord, possess thou the west and the south. And of Asher he said, Let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. Thy shoes shall be iron and brass, and as thy days, so shall thy strength be. There is none like unto the God of Jeshurun, who rideth upon the heaven in thy help, and in his excellency on the sky. The eternal God is thy refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. Shall dwell in safety alone. The fountain of Jacob shall be upon the land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew. Happy art thou, O Israel! Who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency? And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places.
Bible Radio 2CM.
Joseph threw himself on his service to embalm his father Israel. So the physicians embalmed him, taking a full 40 days, for that was the time required for embalming. And the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. When the days of mourning had passed, Joseph said to Pharaoh's court,
If I have found favor in your eyes, speak to Pharaoh for me. Tell him, my father made me swear an oath and said, I am about to die. Bury me in the tomb of my father. Then I will return.
Pharaoh said,
Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear to do.
So Joseph went up to bury his father. All Pharaoh's officials accompanied him. The dignitaries of his court and all the herds were left in Goshen. Chariots and horsemen also went up with him. It was a very large company. When they reached the threshing floor of Atad, near the Jordan, they lamented loudly and bitterly. And there Joseph observed a 7-day period of mourning for his father. When the Canaanites who lived there saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said,
The Egyptians are holding a solemn ceremony of mourning.
That is why that place near the Jordan is called Abel Mizraim. So Jacob's sons did as he had commanded them. They carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre, which Abraham had bought along with the field as a burial place to bury his father. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said,
What if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him?
So they sent word to Joseph, saying,
Your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now, please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father.
When their message came to him, Joseph wept. His brothers then came and threw themselves down before him.
We are your slaves,
they said.
But God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children.
And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. Joseph stayed in Egypt along with all his father's family. He lived Machir, son of Manasseh, were placed at birth on Joseph's knees. Then Joseph said to his brother Israelites,
Up out of this land, to the land he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
And Joseph made the Israelites swear an oath and said,
God will surely come to your aid.
Joseph died.
Yes, some great Deuteronomy chapter 33, Joshua chapter 2, and we started off the bracket with Isaiah chapter 9. Your program is Bibles Free Variety on Old Time Radio 2CM in Newcastle, the music of your life, and we hope you're enjoying the program, and we'll have more after this commercial break.
James Royale again, the consumer's friend with Consumer Watch.
Hi, Jim. You could call me Joe, Jim.
I could, yes. Now, our survey shows that Ostrich Insurance Services rank very low.
Low? Why, we have more services than a contract has clauses. A little insurance joke there, you see.
Do you offer a free travel service, Mr. Ostrich?
No.
Yes. You already do. Our survey shows NRMA provides all those services and a lot more for less than Ostrich.
NRMA? Let me say that. I'm through. You're not from the ABC, are you?
With NRMA, you not only can get top insurance benefits, but access to a complete motoring package no other insurance company can match. Phone us for a quote. Remember, it's to believe.
Hi, this is Roger Shannon of Great Barrington, listening to 1820 2CM.
Chapter 39. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him. And he made him overseer over his house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person, and well favored. And it came to pass after these things, that his master's wife cast her eyes upon the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me, but thee, because thou art his wife. And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time, that Joseph went in, and she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand, and fled, and got him out. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment, Lie with me. And I cried with a lie and fled and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he the Lord prosper.
The Lord said to Moses,
Speak to the Israelites, the Nazareth, and other fermented drink, and must not drink vinegar made from wine or other fermented drink. They must not drink grape juice, or eat grapes or raisins. As long as they remain under the Nazarite vow, they must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine, not even the seeds or skins. During the entire period of the Nazarite's vow, they must let their hair grow long. Throughout the period of their dedication to the Lord, the Nazarite must not go near it, only clean on account of them, because the symbol of their dedication to God is on their head. Throughout the period of their dedication, they are consecrated to the Lord. If someone dies suddenly in the Nazarite's presence, thus defiling the hair that symbolizes their dedication, they must shave their head on the seventh day, the day of their cleansing. Then on the eighth day, they must bring 2 doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The priest is to offer one as a sin offering and the other as a sin by being in the presence of the dead body. That same day, they are to consecrate their head again. The previous days do not count, because they became defiled for the Nazarite when the period of their dedication is over, without defect for a burnt offering, sin offering, a ram without defect for a fellowship offering, together with their grain offerings and drink offerings, and a basket of bread made with the finest flour and without yeast, brushed with olive oil. The priest is to present the Nazarite before the Lord and make the sin offering and the burnt offering, and is to sacrifice the ram as a fellowship offering to the Lord, together with its grain offering, the tent of meeting. The Nazarite must shave off the hair that symbolizes their dedication. They are to take the hair of the offering after the shoulder of the ram, and one thin loaf from the basket, both made without yeast. The priest shall then wave these before the Lord. This is the law of the Nazarite who vows offerings to the Lord in accordance with their dedication. In addition to whatever else they can afford, they must fulfill the vows they have made, according to the law of the Nazarite.
The Lord said to Moses,
Tell Aaron and his sons, this is how you are to bless the Israelites. Say to them, the Lord's face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give peace. So they will put my name on the Israelites, and I will bless them.
Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. Was not made out of what was visible. Faith brought God a better offering than Cain did. By faith, he was commended as righteous when God spoke well of his offerings. And by faith, Abel still speaks, even though he is dead. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life, experienced death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. For before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. It's those who earnestly seek him. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By his faith, he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. By faith, when called to go to was going. By faith, he made his home in the promised land, like a stranger in a foreign country. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him of the same promise. For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God. And by faith, even Sarah, who was past child, one, and he as good as dead, and they only saw them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. People who say such things show that they are looking for a country of their own, if they hate to return. Instead, they were longing for a better country, a heavenly one, as a sacrifice. He who had embraced the promises was about to sacrifice his one and only son. Even Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead. And so, in a manner of speaking, he did receive Isaac back from death. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau in regard to their future. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons and worshiped Joseph when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt. Faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months after he was born, because they saw Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as of greater value than the treasures of earth, because he saw him who is invisible. By faith, he kept the Passover of blood, so that the destroyer of the firstborn would not touch the firstborn of Israel. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea as on dry land. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after the army had marched around, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed with those who were disobedient. Barak, Samson, Jephthah, about David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, and gained what was promised, who shut the mouths of lions, quenched the fury of the flames, and escaped the edge of the sea. Women received back their dead and flogging, and even chains and imprisonment. They were put to death by stoning. They were sawed in two. They were killed by the sword. They went about in sheepskins and goatskins, destitute, persecuted, and mistreated. The world was not worthy of them. They wandered in deserts and mountains and in caves and holes in the ground. They were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised.
And yet I will show you the most excellent way. If I speak in human or angelic prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is but with the trusts, always hopes, never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even I am fully known. And now these three remain. Faith is love.
The world's a troubled place. But if you think about it, no matter what nationality, colour, race or religion, we're all part of one big family. And as a family, shouldn't we share the responsibilities? It'll go a long way towards improving life for our global family.
Damn thing. Doesn't want to work. It's frozen again. God, what's the matter with this bloody thing?
Nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who are in distress. In the past, he humbled the land of by the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the nation and increase their joy. They rejoice before you as people rejoice at the harvest, as soldiers rejoice when dividing the plunderers, the rod of their oppressor. Every warrior's boot used in battle and every garment rolled in blood will be destined for burning, will be fuel for the fire. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God. There will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. All the people will know it, Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria, who say with pride and arrogance of heart,
The bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with dressed stone. The fig trees have been felled, but we will replace them with cedars.
But the Lord has strengthened Reason's foes against them, and has spurred their enemies on. Arameans from the east and Philistines from the west have devoured Israel with open mouth. Yet for all this, his anger is not, nor have they sought the Lord. both palm branch and reed in a single day. The elders and dignitaries are the head. The prophets who teach lies are the tail. Those who guide this people mislead them, and in the young men. Nor will he pity the fatherless and widows, for everyone is ungodly and wicked. Every mouth speaks folly. Yet for all this, his anger is not turned away. His hand is still upraised. Surely, wickedness burns like a fire. It consumes briars of the Lord Almighty. The land will be scorched, and the people will be fuel for the fire. They will not spare each other. On the right, they will devour, but still be hungry. On the left, they will eat, but not be satisfied. They will all feed on the flesh of their own offspring. Manasseh will feed on Ephraim, and Ephraim on Manasseh. Together, they will turn against Judah. Yet for all this, his anger is not turned away. His hand is still upraised.
How would a power fader affect your business? Could your products or your service survive a prolonged car cut? With a Dunlite standby power generator, you're always in business. Dunlite are Australia's leading power generation specialists. They have a range of models to suit all kinds of factories, businesses, and commercial applications. Talk to Dunlite about the best kind of power fader insurance. A Dunlite standby power generator. Dunlite Power Generation. 443 Concord Road, Rhodes. 730286.
Today we have in the studio an old friend of ours, Antonio. How are you, Antonio? Well, I used to be very sad, but then I found something and now I'm very, very happy. Why, what did you find? Gold? No gold. What did you find? A girl? No girl. Well, what did you find then? I found the hi-fi service.
Start what? How many listeners did we have on last night's show? Have a look at it. This computer is so slow. No, it's not computer that's slow. What is it? It's not the internet. It's you got a virus on it. How am I going to get rid of that? Oh, you can't. Eh? You can't. Somebody's hacked you. Unless I pay for it. Yeah. Okay, we're off the air. I'll take. So what we'll do, Graham, I'll end this stream. Oh, we'll have a look at last night's broadcast.